stars. I probably might do something. Thank the stars that they brought it back. Because I was getting afraid that we were looking at another 3-0. Yesterday, we were teased with maybe that fourth game, but we didn't get it. But here, Rogue does so many things very, very well. And I want to credit them mostly for their ability to change it up so much coming in an elimination game.
Exactly. I think it shows a real sign of maturity as a team to be able to quickly pivot on a dime and show off a brand new style in this series. Obviously, they've played stuff like this in the past. And mainly, I think Rogue had a very similar read to what I had before the break, which was get Trymbi onto a champion that can roam, that can fight a little bit more. And even more than that, Larssen, too, on the Sylas was a little bit more scrap-heavy of a mid lane to try and support Malrang.
I think most importantly is the fact that they chose to go red side, and for a team like Rogue, where they casually just like to scale into the late game and just play their team fights, it was a little bit of a head scratcher for me personally. But just seeing Larssen go towards the Sylas to try and counter the Twisted Fate and follow him around, to see Odoamne insta-lock the Jace in the top lane when things like Camille and Aurelia are in and available for Wunder to pick, and also Malrang smurfing it and actually playing towards his solo lanes. I think it was a breath of fresh air to actually see from the side of Rogue, and now we can see that actually the early game can be proactive, it can match Fnatic.
And I think it's important to note, too, that this seems like prep to me for Rogue. This was not them reacting on the day, maybe the decision to do it, but they had this option in the playbook, because you pick red side, you almost know that Humanoid is going to want to lock in that Twisted Fate first. So their first 3 picks of Jace, Hecarim, and Sylas on 3 to answer were almost always going to be set in stone. So at least the top side was something Rogue have practiced and were ready to come in with. It worked for them. Now the question is, can they continue to replicate that for 2 more games?
I think that's going to be the million-dollar question, of course, but you're still against match point. But to kind of talk about or to summarize the positive things, all right, switched up the draft a fair bit. First time that any team picked the red side going into this game. Malrang and Larssen together, teaming up. Malrang actually having a high jungle proximity towards his laners. All good things. Let's take a look at one of the replays, the 22-minute fight at Baron, and we're only going to look at it because the game... Oh, no, this is yours, actually.
Yeah,
Sorry.
this is the 3v3 up on the top side. To support the point you were just making, Sjokz, about Larssen and Malrang working together, because it wasn't just the champions changing, you know, Trymbi being more involved on the map. It's Larssen trying to move on the map, match the roams of the Twisted Fate, and pair up with Malrang, and it works out for them. Now, unfortunately, Wunder comes back to life. It makes an even trade, but you can even see on the minimap there, too, Trymbi abandoned bot lane to get that rotation up towards the top side. So even though he wasn't directly involved in the play, you can see the plan from Rogue was to be much more involved in supporting Malrang, and that made him look so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is what we wanted to see from them, right? Actually play towards the side lane. This is why you pick the Jace as well. You want to have him ahead. You don't want the Jace to fall behind. You want that when that poke lands, you can actually enter into the fight with the Hecarim and assassinate somebody and reach the backline. So I think it was a pretty good choice to get red side, and it's going to be a really big telltale to see what Fnatic chooses later on.
Yeah, they're blue. Spoiler alert.
Oh.
They're in blue. We can talk about it in just a second. Let's now run that Baron fight. The only reason I wanted to show it is because to show you how much the game was actually over at this point, right? Because Rogue snowballed effectively.
And we have seen Hylissang overextend a lot of times, and we say, but Fnatic can get things back even when Hylissang overextends and dies. Well, this is not the case here, because Trymbi gets a fantastic knockup into a triple-man taunt, and Malrang is so huge, gets another 3-man fee into a huge Moonlight Vigil with Infernum from comp, and everybody just disappears in the blink of an eye.
This was really great by Rogue. I think for the sake of storytelling, we shouldn't mention what happened after. Listen, there were some dicey fights. They overpushed a little bit, but to their credit, they were able to close it out. Just don't do that again if the advantage isn't that big.
Look, pushing for Nexus 2-3 times versus a Jinx on the enemy team, it's a story as old as time in the comeback book, so you got to stay away from it.
For sure. So, I think we'll kind of summarize what we want both teams to do in just a second, but I do want to also open the floor to Fnatic, right? Because Fnatic was very convincing, I think, especially in game 1. They got so much out of that bot lane pickup with the Pyke and whatnot and getting forward. Now they get one of Humanoid and Fnatic's favorite picks in a TF, and it didn't work out. Why didn't it work out? And where do you think they're going to go in terms of changes with the blue side again in this next game?
I was just not a big fan of the Diana. I do really like the Twisted Fate, but I'd like something like a tank in the jungle. So maybe you can have like an Aurelia or a Camille on a side lane, and then you can actually perma roam together with the Twisted Fate. At this point, you knew that they weren't going to play top side. You don't necessarily want to play for your Sion, and they covered bot side pretty well from Rogue to not allow the Thresh Jinx to get ahead together with the Twisted Fate roams. So I don't think Fnatic opened themselves up on the map enough, and it was very telling where Twisted Fate would choose to go, and it was instantly shut down.
Yeah, I think you make a really valid point, especially about like playing towards top side and that not being necessarily as ideal, especially because we saw Fnatic dominating when playing through the bottom side of the map. And to the Diana pick in itself, like I understand Fnatic do want to get some magic damage in the composition, so I think in a vacuum, it's not so bad for them to want to go for that pick. But in terms of the overall style from Fnatic, they had a switch up compared to previous games in the same way that we saw Rogue change their style too. And I don't think that was the ideal route for them to have taken.
And it's also a bit unlucky that you get your hands on the TF now, which has been banned previously, and now Rogue is considering, do we actually have to ban it again? We will see, of course, what happens in the next draft.
I still think it's good.
I think it also is pretty good. But Ender, you said at the beginning of the day you saw Rogue taking this home with a 3-2. You said 3-1 for Fnatic, so I'm going to let you each plead your case in terms of Rogue, of course, winning the next game then, Ender.
Well, I think this is a great example. Like, I don't think Fnatic played particularly poorly in this game. I think Rogue did a great job of reading what Fnatic wanted to do with this change of style. So now that we've seen Trymbi and Larssen get more involved on more aggressive picks that want to fight next to Malrang, it seems like a much more cohesive team from this Rogue comp. And I think the comps that Rogue have played will work against probably 7 or 8 of the other teams in the league, but not versus this Fnatic. So Rogue need to stick to this style, and they can bring it back.
I'm sticking with my prediction. I said 3-1. I think this was an oopsie by Fnatic. They didn't necessarily push enough their advantage down the bot lane. And now that they have the blue side and they can maybe potentially re-pick the Twisted Fate, maybe they will reassess having something in the top lane. Maybe they can play towards too.
Okay. Your predictions. I like yours the most, not because of the winner necessarily, because as long as we get 5 games, I'm happy in Silver Scrapes.
Look,
so.
I'm wearing Silver Scrapes, so we get it no matter what.
Chainmail, getting in a fight, and Rogue is also getting into the fight. Let's head over to our posse at the desk.
Ooh, posse.
Ooh.
Gang, crew, boys.
Gaggle of casters.
A gaggle. A flock.
A flock of
A
casters.
hood.
If we do 80s, our
school.
band name can be a flock of casters.
That's pretty good. We could also be like a
It could be a
school.
band, guys.
Anyway,
Sorry,
so we have a game to
yeah,
cast that
sorry,
we should
dude,
probably
Matt.
focus on. You know, like it's
one day, you know.
one day maybe.
Don't
Yeah,
worry, don't worry
we
about
got a karaoke. Hey,
it. Yeah, that'd be good. Good stuff.
do you like Ricky Martin? We love Ricky Martin.
We do love Ricky Martin.
I can like Ricky Martin. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
My
All right, time to see who's going to be living La Vida Loco.
Is it Loca?
Thank God you're here for the Spanish. Time for game 4. I take it back. You're in the band.
I'm in the band.
Words.
Oh, Yamato giving a stern talking to Hilly there. He's like,
Way to coach.
you do not dive when the jungler spots. He's like, oh, god damn it, man.
I love diving
Oh,
into the
I wanna
jungler
dive
spot.
bot. God, okay, fine.
All right, time to see what the adjustments in draft are going to be. Will Hecarim make it through this time around? Volibear, another pick that we naturally have to keep our eyes on. See what the adaptation is going to be for Fnatic, who once again chose blue.
On that first pick, they did get themselves the Twisted Fate last game. We saw a lot of ganks actually invested towards the top side of the map, not really paying off. They did shut down Odoamne a little bit, but nothing too dramatic. The Victor now going to be removed.
Yeah, I think Rogue don't really have to change it up. I think what they picked into TF worked, taking away the Jace early to make sure you have a strong top side to deny any kind of counter picks, ban out Camille on 4-5 if they don't pick their top, and pick Sylas into the TF. Worked. They're probably going to run it back. LeBlanc ban coming in. We'll see what they do about the Hecarim though, because I feel like that could be a bit of a contention point. I think Volibear as well could be something that they want to look at, because Fnatic obviously banned away Volibear Jarvan last game. Now they're both open. Do Rogue ban Volibear third is my question.
I would think that Fnatic leave it open and they trade Volibear for Hecarim.
I think the smartest thing for Rogue here would be the Volibear actually. Give them TF and just run back something similar.
I mean, it's a tough decision, right? Because you've got Volibear as well as the Hecarim up and available. So 2 priority junglers. They can ban away the TF and just look for the trade. Certainly a lot of options on the board.
Very, very true.
The thing is, I think if you're in a sticky situation if you're Fnatic, because what Rogue could do right now is ban Hecarim. Then Fnatic could first pick TF. Well, actually, you could leave the Hecarim open, and then you have a choice. Because if Fnatic pick Twisted Fate...
Oh, they've done it. They banned the Volibear.
So watch, if Fnatic pick Twisted Fate right now, then Rogue can once again run the Hecarim, and they also have the Sylas as an answer. If they don't, okay, well, the don't doesn't matter anymore. The expectations would now be you just immediately respond with, of course, you can't blind the Jace like you did in the previous game, but you can grab yourself the Hecarim. You can also grab yourself the Aphelios if you just want to go for a safe blind for the time being, and then you already have a strong jungle and AD carry very early on.
Could also take away Jinx from the side of Fnatic, which pairs pretty well with the TF. I mean, you have an AD trade-off here, but I think the most important thing, like I said, Vedius, Aphelios coming, most important thing is the adaptation, right? Fnatic ban away Jace to deny the strong top side. Rogue read it, and they're saying, okay, well, you haven't banned Volibear, we'll take that away and give you the TF anyway. So both sides kind of playing around what happened last game. I think Hecarim would be the kind of no-brainer here. We'll see what Razork defaults to. I'm going to go for the Sylas maybe instead. So are they going to leave Hecarim here for Razork? I mean, he could also go Lee Sin. I think something a little bit more aggressive could pair well with the TF. I didn't like the Diana so much. I feel like here, knowing Fnatic, they're probably going to early rotate their AD and their jungler, which would make the most sense, unless they fancy a really strong topside.
Could do Viego, something we have seen from him. Could pair up pretty well with the Twisted Fate as well, but I like the Lee Sin as an option.
There's the Jinx.
One of the strong synergies that we've seen is Viego Renata. Obviously going to be difficult to get the Renata if we had it in the second ban phase. Similarly difficult to get to Viego. Giving over the Hecarim would feel very, very bad here.
Would indeed, unless Rogue knows something we don't, and they have an answer to it. And Malrang knows that he wants to give over, and I think that Jarvan is their answer. Because they're saying, if you pick Hecarim, we're going to go Jarvan into your TF and your Jinx, and we're going to ban Thresh. So Fnatic are in a sticky situation here. They picked the Viego. Now my question is, do Rogue commit to that Jarvan pick and then ban away things like the Thresh into the two mobile carries, or do they just take the Hecarim? Because I think that was probably their plan all along.
Kind of feels like everything is going the way Rogue intended right now. Feels like they've had a plan and they've gotten themselves a very solid teamfighting comp once again.
I think Jarvan does pretty well into Hecarim. Hecarim can farm faster, but you can look for plays, and I feel like they kind of put a trap out there to Fnatic and didn't really fall into it.
Well, when we look at it, these are three of the champions that won the game, ultimately, for
Yes.
Rogue. And the only real difference is right now the Viego, and of course the lack of Jace in the top lane. So top lane matchup is naturally, I think, where we have to cast our eyes towards, as well as admittedly support matchups. We see the Pyke banned away here because this is the point that Fnatic thought was the problem. They could have banned away any of the champions present on the enemy team, and they chose the Jace, not the Hecarim. So now we need to see what Wunder could do on the top side of the map.
I think Rogue should consider a Zillion ban. Only because I think the Rogue is once again considering the Rakan and
Renata, dude. But Sylas Renata. Oof.
How about I raise you that and I say I think Fnatic should be considering a Zillion ban as well, because these are the two supports who have been playing Zillion, and Rogue are the ones who have Hecarim. Pyke banned away. Do they ban something like Nautilus here?
But can you blind a Zillion support?
Well, it depends what bans you've got here.
If you ban Thresh, do you think you can do it?
I think they have to ban away something like Nautilus here, but I don't really know what the last ban is. We'll wait and see for now. But they need to ban some kind of engage. Camille is going to be the ban. Would do pretty well as well, the Zillion into
so
things
Rogue
like
is
the
looking at a blind Gnar, I guess, based on that?
Yeah, probably.
Which means that Fnatic will probably answer with the GP again. Won't give them the best front line, but it will give them more team fight and global impact. And it would give you a very bot side focused draft too.
Yeah, there's a lot of options. I think GP would make the most sense, double global for bot. But then what do you pick as Hylissang? Do you go for something like Rakan yourself? But then we bring up the Zillion conundrum where Trymbi can last pick, right? So who blind picks it? What happens? Rogue on this 4-pick tell a lot. There's a Gnar ban like we talked about.
Okay.
So now, Rogue, do you blind pick top or do you blind pick support? Which one do you value more having a counter pick for? Gnar would be the obvious blind. Rakan, Nautilus would be the obvious blinds for support. But this will be very telling as to how Fnatic play the game, because if you blind top, they can play topside by countering your top laner. If you blind support, you can counter bots, but Ornn.
I was just thinking Ornn.
No, give me the Ornn. I like the Ornn. Okay, oh no, there we go. Yeah. Now I'm talking. Hecarim Ornn. When I was thinking of the initial Jarvan bait, I thought if Fnatic picked Hecarim, you have a Sylas Hecarim ult with a Jarvan into Jinx TF, which is very dangerous. Now you've got an Ornn instead. So Hecarim Ornn with a Sylas into their mobile carries is going to hurt. Wunder, what counter pick can you get out of this? Aatrox, notoriously good into tanks.
And again, you can see how tense this game's draft is by how long each and every pick is taking. Now as we round it out, you love to see the Braum
it's a
again.
Rakan, right?
Oh,
It
yes.
has to be a Rakan.
Or Zillion.
I was going to say, you could also do Zillion
Oh,
here.
Trymbi can... Once again, we've got a game where Trymbi can pick anything he wants. Rakan or Zillion would just do so fantastically well, but as soon as I look at Fnatic's draft, like Cedric was taking a lot of time, top side is what I think of.
Renata, I definitely like as well.
I don't know if I'm as much of a fan, only because I feel Renata does really well onto champions that kind of want to come into you. Admittedly, you have some short-range champion, but the engage on the side of Fnatic is not the strongest. So I don't think you really need a Renata, and I like this a lot more.
Drakos, you said Rogue have 3 out of 3 champions they won last game with. Now I raise you. They have 4 out of 5 of the last champions they won last game with. Replace the Jace for an Ornn and give them more team fights.
Yeah, and I really loved, normally I would love the Zilean, and I'm all aboard the Zilean train, except there are so many reset champions on the enemy team that when Jinx resets into the Zilean ult, like, she doesn't care. She throws down the traps, the Braum is waiting there. Instead, you have the Rakan, you have more engage. Rogue have so many tools to start fights on their turn. They have such clean, reliable engage, and we're in a situation now where Fnatic, their reliable engage is, again, Humanoid. It is that gold card, and it is all eyes on him, really, to make these plays happen.
But I will say that Fnatic assume that Rogue will engage, and they have a lot of tools for counter-engage. You have the traps to help mitigate and create that level of zone control. You have the Braum, which can both block the Ornn ultimate and can also help peel for the engage coming out from the other side. And I think that if you're also engaging onto an Aatrox and a Viego, you're making their life easier in terms of being able to close the gap. So you're right in that it is difficult for Fnatic to actually start fights off. The only good news is Rogue want to start a lot of fights, so perhaps Rogue will do it better for them.
Here's what I would describe it as, very simply. Rogue, Wombo combo, easy to follow. Fnatic, reset city. Aatrox, Viego, Jinx, you kill one person, you get the first kill in the fight as Fnatic, you are instantly like 50% stronger, and that is something that Rogue are going to have to respect. Execution will be the name of the game as we get ready for Game 4, Rogue versus Fnatic. All right, doubters. Before these guys murder each other at level 1, it's your time. Head on over to Discord now and vote. You got 17% before. You changing your minds or you sticking to your guns here, Fnatic faithful?
The one thing we didn't talk about was side lanes. Fnatic, very prominent side laners. Of course, Sylas can match one of the two, but Ornn at best can only hold. And when you have Humanoid with his global, it's actually very easy for Fnatic to do a 2v1 collapse onto side attack.
The other thing we didn't talk about is level 1s. Braum level 1 late invade, split the map bot side. Can't really play for an Ornn, but Rogue are all here, Fnatic. Oh no.
Larssen can abscond and duck over the wall.
Odoamne can flash and maybe eat the wall back. Oh, the second Rogue arrive.
Do you know,
they back away.
Caedrel, the moment you started talking like that, I thought you were going to do your usual stream, like...
no, don't do that on broadcast, Benny. Let's not talk about that. He said nothing. Well, double the percentage. We've gone from, I believe, 17 or something like that to now 34%. Here comes the late invade. Level 1, Braum so powerful next to the Jinx. What they want to do here, Fnatic, is they want to split the map bot side, take all the bot side camps away, but Odoamne is here and he's not going to allow that to happen.
3-man knockup in the area. 3-man knockup is a good start. Upset does manage to flash over the wall, but he's taking a lot of damage in the meantime. Abscond over the wall from Larssen. Doesn't have any cooldowns, but he does have the passive stack. They're forcing out the early heal. Hylissang will go down. Rogue, this time ready for the level 1 vengeance from their first game.
So a lot of things happening there, but Rogue coming out on top. Razork, not done yet. He's hanging around. He's going to be forced to go to his red, or no, is he? I think Malrang taking these wolves. Razork needs to steal them away. He should know that he's on them, but this is such a risky play because there's a ward on blue, and Malrang's not even padding towards it. If he sees Razork, he can smite it away, but does he see Razork? No, he doesn't! Little cone of vision there, smites away. Both junglers still level 1.
It's a little awkward.
Yeah, Razork's gonna leave.
Okay, so talk us through it, Caedrel. What do you now as a jungler do in both situations?
Well, I think Razork just has to full clear his bot side. He has an option to invade Malrang. The problem he has there is he used his smite, and he could get collapsed on by the enemy bot lane, so he can't take away the blue buff. Malrang will level up on the Raptors. Happy days. So, Fnatic wanted to split the map bot because then Rogue are forced to play top side for an Ornn, which is not optimal, whereas Fnatic can play for the Jinx. That didn't end up happening. Odoamne does something very, very classical and clinical. When you know they're late invading bot, you just stay around bot side. And because their top laner's not there, you stop the invade, you force summoners, you TP top. You're the loser, but your team's the winner.
Yeah, and outside of the jungle, I want to talk a little bit about the impact of that early play. You saw Wunder and Humanoid both able to get to lane first, both able to build early advantages in lanes that are already winning. The downside, the big downside for Fnatic is the flash, the heal gone, the ignite gone from Hylissang. Bot lane, a potential vulnerability that Rogue can look to exploit, while Comp and Trymbi have a big summoner advantage.
Yeah, huge lead in bot side for Rogue. Not only from what they've got in the early game, but the matchup itself. The problem with playing Braum into Rakan, the reason Rakan counters Braum is because Braum has to stack up something. You can't lock down the Rakan, and he's so mobile that he'll dash away. Short trade, W in, Q your AD carry, auto attack, E out. What does Braum do really against that? And Nautilus will just auto attack him, hook him back in. That's why Aftershock supports Alistar. Nautilus, Leona are so good into Rakan because you can lock him down, but the Braum really can't. So Rogue having push in bot, Fnatic having push in top as expected with their counts big. Razork now going to go towards his bot side camps. Humanoid consistent mid push, range into melee, but when Larssen gets a couple levels under his belt, he'll start to trade back.
So the bot crab is still up, but notice the Razork is making a beeline for it. We'll drop the ward to get a little bit of information, and he should actually spot the crab out as the engage comes in from Trymbi. Should just be a short trade.
That's the short trade right there. What can the Braum do? He just has to put the shield up, and it's just going to hurt every single time. They always get the push, and the push in bot allows Malrang to get the crab. So Larssen now, after TPing back, trying to get a little bit of vision himself. Of course, Fnatic still on match point.
19 jungle CS, the awkward number for all junglers when you get half a camp.
Classic.
How many camps has he done? I don't know, he's at 19 CS.
You said earlier when Hylissang was playing Pyke, he's petty, he'll take a single Raptor. Razork on the same team, he's petty, he'll take a single Wolf. You know, sometimes it's the little things. Sometimes you just...
They add up, they do.
Yeah.
Every penny in the jar, you look back after a year, that's a full jar.
You gotta flex sometimes, you gotta go in for dominance. Does it always make sense? No, but sometimes stealing the Raptor, it's about the emotional move, not the logical one.
Sometimes that's all that matters. It's about sending a message. It's about sending a message. Now, we can see once again in the mid lane, Larssen falling short in the 1v1, as you'd come to expect. Twisted Fate can be very aggressive into melee matchups. And can't actually get a body block that one. You can see the mini war games going on in the laning CSing. Ooh, Malrang actually going to miss that ward. Good positioning there. We'll spot him out and not get swept out. He thinks that he's in fog right now. He's still on walk over the ward. So the collapse is coming in. Look at Hilly. Look at Razork. No, Razork will get spotted. Wait.
Oh, he might still get the play anyway. Go in, abscond, abduct. A lot of good upfront damage. Humanoid now has to walk away, looking for the flash. Potentially, the chain's going to finish the job. Razork, unless he gets a reset, there's nothing he can do.
How the hell did that work? They knew exactly where Malrang was. We were the ones Pepe laughing at him, but he's the laugher. He's the one who's laughing now. So they get Humanoid's flash, they get the kill. He can TP back to catch the wave, but yeah, Rogue early game, 1k gold lead once again. Who's getting the early advantage for Rogue? It's Malrang, it's Hecarim, 2 kills already.
I can't believe that worked.
Yeah.
Wow, so it's Larssen and Malrang. Malrang already been involved in every single kill in the early game. Of course, that wasn't thanks to the level 1 that happened, but yeah, he got spotted out on the ward. He gets spotted out right again. Here. They all know that he's here, and the
Humanoid. Bullying Humanoid. He's gonna go down again. No flash from the previous play makes it an easy target.
And for the second time, Humanoid dies on the TF. That'll free up Larssen so much in this lane that they'll slightly oppressive, and now they're looking top.
Knock back there. Wunder flashing into the ult. Clean read coming in from Odoamne. Wunder should just fall here. Slows down the Infernal Chains. It will not be enough. Malrang gonna take the kill there in the end.
Okay, down Drakos. You're an Elden Ring veteran. Yep. What do you do when the Tree Sentinel follows you? How do you go away and level up when it's the one chasing you around the map?
You quit and you start a new game.
You get on turret, you run,
and you pray that that's a bug.
Oh no.
The problem, Mr. Day, is Fnatic wanted to try again. They said, you know what? This wasn't the TF, not the problem. Bot side, not, like, let's try again. Let's tussle with this Hecarim one more time. And I don't think the Jace was the problem, boys. I hate to break it to you. I think the Hecarim might have been the problem. That, and they didn't respect the gank, but let's keep it simple.
It's a classic of surely, let's just not give him kills in the early game, right? But then after that Humanoid death, I'm like, guys, that's not the plan anymore. So Fnatic now behind. Obviously, the game's not over. They have got a really powerful side lane in Aatrox. Did die, of course, so it will be put behind for now. Jinx scales really well.
3-0-0 again, 7 minutes
Guys,
in.
Yeah, it's just... Caedrel already called it out. Look, it should be simple. Just don't feed the Hecarim. But if you've ever seen the movie Gremlins, just don't feed something. Doesn't always work out in your favor. People don't like simple instructions.
The target, you gotta run.
No cleanse either.
Humanoid on the way in, or Larssen on the way with the stolen. Oh, they take that back. Upset now just getting shredded. Humanoid on the backside looking to fight comp, but I don't know if he has enough damage. Trymbi now shifting his attention. Upset now drops. Razork wants to get something back. Maybe, just maybe, if they get a reset, they can get something done. Malrang level 6, ulting back through. The Ignite ticking down, but he's running for his life. He knows the reset will be a problem. Malrang still standing. Malrang still alive. Oh, God, that's so damn clean from Rogue. That is massive. 8-0 in game 4.
That is 4 kills in the bot lane. Larssen says, thank you very much, Humanoid. I will take your ultimate, I will dive bot, and I will do the Fnatic against you.
It's 8 minutes in. Rogue have 8 kills. Wunder's trying to proxy top here, trying to get some creeps in his pocket while Odoamne catches that wave, but Odoamne's having none of it. Doesn't have the ultimate up just yet, but wow, what an outplay there by Malrang. You could see what was happening. Fnatic just kind of piling all their resources into killing Malrang to give Razork a reset, like you were talking about in Draft Drakos, but he lives on 1 HP, gets the last shield from Trymbi, and he's the one who comes out with 5 kills again. I can't remember how many kills he had at 10 minutes last game, but
it was like 4-0-4.
Well, now it's 5-0-1.
Yeah. Here's the problem.
Tell me, because
the reset comp is really good if someone on your team can kill somebody else, but so far, that has not been the case. And Rogue's composition has so many tools to engage.
Has ult.
Odo see objective, Odo go.
Forward.
can go unstoppable for a brief moment. Instantly, they're just going to collapse onto Wunder, trying to split the fight. Fnatic, Humanoid on the backside. That's going to be ulti coming in. Hylissang not in a position to block it. Upset isolated over Larssen. 5, trying to get a reset again, fishing for something, but Larssen is just now joining the fight. It was a 4v5. Fnatic could get nothing done. It's a 5v5, and now they definitely can get nothing done. Trymbi overextending just a brief moment. Wants to go back to the rest of the team. They're trying to keep the fight going. Hylissang certainly will fall. Larssen going in. Humanoid getting taken down, and oh man, if it was a scrim, we'd be going next. This is a slaughter.
This is an absolute stomp from Rogue. 11 kills, 9 minutes. Fnatic, look at their kills, look at their gold, look at their items. They have nothing.
Wunder, I just saw him laughing on the player cam. We're going back to the earlier fight that happened, but this is when Larssen TP's in. You can see the counter TP coming in from Humanoid, but Con basically just says, okay, I don't care about you, while Larssen and Malrang are killing Upset. Razork gets so close to getting this kill. Hylissang flash in, slow, ignite, but then look, the ultimate, and then he gets the Guardian proc in from Trymbi as well. The shield just about comes through as Larssen gets the kill to Razork. And they're able to absolutely dominate in the play. Then the top lane fight exchange happens.
Yeah, watch Hylissang's E here. He used it a little bit early. Look at it. Used the shield, used the unbreakable, but now here comes the Ornn, and everyone on Fnatic has to run away. Big positioning here from Larssen coming around the side, who focuses on Razork, who has ultimate. You see the picture. Maybe another kill going for Rogue, but still the chase happens. Larssen saves Trymbi at the end of it. Ultimate doesn't connect. Fnatic, at this point in the game, Humanoid had boots of swiftness and an Oblivion Orb. My man doesn't do any damage, even if Trymbi's stunned up, so Larssen's just unstoppable. Comp rejoins the fight. God, it's a disaster for Fnatic ever since the start of the level 1.
I saw, hang on a second.
Hylissang solo kill Comp.
Oh, but here comes the TF ultimate, or not?
Hylissang?
Oh no.
Oh no,
TF ulti. Can he leap to the ally, or did he already leap to the minion? That's gonna be the winner's bite. Rogue really not looking to overextend on that one, but here comes Larssen in the meantime.
I mean, Rogue have the Herald as well. Larssen has 10 stacks in his Dark Seal. They're going to look for a play bot now. Larssen has no TP. Odoamne has the flash up.
Odoamne. Stun going to go in. Odoamne now flashing out.
Good reaction time there from Odo. If the stun connected, Wunder would follow up with the chain CC. So
Hilly's gonna die. Hilly's gonna die.
It's going to be the lockup. Snare now coming down. Hylissang trying to back away. Humanoid the first to drop. Larssen has the stolen Braum ultimate. He is going to fish for the knock. Will hit one. Upset mitigating a bit of damage with the Guardian. The knockup's now coming through, but Comp tanking the tower initially means that Trymbi will not fall.
Yeah, I can see Hylissang just scratching his head right now on the player cam. I mean, he doesn't really know what to do. There's not much that Fnatic can do. They look bot, nothing happens. They look bot here. Rogue's winning out. Good flash from Wunder.
But the Hecarim still very fast. Will continue to chase here. Back away in a moment.
Just look at the items. I mean, Humanoid still sitting on Swiftness boots and an Oblivion Orb. 0, 5, and 0. I think if you look for plays on either side lane right now, you get 2v1. Larssen can zone Upset away from his Gromp, from his own wards, from his blue buff at 11 minutes in. Like, if this was a scrim game, this, like you said, Drakos, this would have just been a go next.
And, I mean, we talked about it, Drakos, right? At the beginning of Game 3, we said, Rogue gets memed a lot, right?
Yes.
They just do, because they are a regular season team, and then they come into playoffs, and sure, they might win a series, but whenever it's about fighting for that first spot, they always end up falling short. And obviously, the most memorable one was when they got reverse swept by the Mad Lions last year. I have to cut my point off because it's another fight.
Razork now trying to make a play onto Larssen. Larssen could be in trouble here. That's the stun. It's a lot of immediate CC. The dash backwards into the Everfrost. The rocket going wide. Wants to finish Larssen off. Wants to get that reset. The W from Sylas is so strong, but finally, they will get something. They're going to try to keep this fight going, but that's a stolen away Sylas. It's a very fed stolen away Sylas. The ignite ticking. He's burning. Malrang now dominating as he's going to finish off that kill with the red smite.
So Fnatic are on the board. Larssen shakes his head, laughs it off a bit, does give over a couple stacks of his Dark Seal, gives over a shutdown, 800 gold to Razork. A kill will help Razork get his first mythic item, but won't stop this tower from falling. Malrang has the Herald.
And of course, just as I was about to sing Larsen's praises, his redemption story, his coming back in, he ruins the perfect game. Good job, Larssen.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'll still praise him, and I'll tell you another story. Because you look at Fnatic Rogue, it's not Rogue favorite.
You don't have time, Drakos.
You don't have time. That looks like it might just be a little bit of murder. Gold card going down. Humanoid flashing out to safety. Trymbi not done with him yet.
Solo kill.
Scorpion style. Get over here. But Trymbi actually going to be the one who has to get out in the end. Anyway, story time, folks. Boom. This is the matchup we should be talking about. Not Rogue versus Fnatic. It's Humanoid versus Larssen. Count it. It's 17-16. Humanoid in the lead. At the end of this game, we could go to a Game 5 where it's 17-17. Winner takes all for a spot in the LEC finals. And today, Larssen finally, in a best-of-5, is popping off the way Rogue fans wanted him to as a fight breaks out in the mid lane.
Oh, no,
you don't get to talk.
Again.
It's still Daniel Drakos' time. Here we go. The snare coming out. Larssen will just walk away.
And you said it, Vedius. on Sylas, if anything. If any champ for Larssen is known as a control mage player, the last game popping off on Sylas, this game popping off on Sylas. Game's not over, of course, but it's roughly a 7,000 gold lead. I've seen bigger throws at double the number, roughly, on the Nexus.
But it was Rogue. It was Rogue that did that.
Well, it was G2 as well.
And it's... I think what's crazy is that when we think about Larssen as a player, how often, throughout Rogue's history, would we have seen jungle ganks repeatedly thrown towards mid lane, the supports constantly rolling towards him? This is not historically how Rogue has been as an organization or as a team. It's not been very mid-focused, but when you give him these resources, look at how capable he is and how big of a carry he can be.
Absolutely, and for so long with Inspired, Rogue were a jungle-focused team. They picked strong lanes to enable their jungler, and this year it's been such a shift because Malrang has been all about enabling the lanes, and while we've seen him go top, we've seen him go bot, this series going mid has been the most fruitful. It has been so impactful for the game overall.
Yeah, and Humanoid's been the target of that, falling short to a lot of these ganks, which a lot of them kind of shouldn't have happened, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say things like fatigue, maybe. It's been a long best of 5, you know, did see him there, maybe overestimated how much damage they had, but still, these plays cannot happen in a playoffs best of 5. Need to be at the top of your form, otherwise Rogue will run away with it. And it's Malrang who sitting on 6 kills right now. They have the outer tower in top. They need to rotate it towards mid, so they're going to pick up the Herald first.
So let's talk about next steps for Rogue. Obviously, as you mentioned, we've seen big throws before. We've seen actually Rogue against the Mad Lions last year get a lead like this and then not be able to close things out. They're obviously securing the Herald now, and their main priority would be these final outer towers, in particular in bot lane, but they're kind of already thinking about when that Baron spawns, these future Drakes.
I mean, when you look at a lot of throws, it's normally a team is very far ahead, of course, but they're playing almost like a single target damage side lane composition or not a very heavy scaling composition, and then they get to the later stages, they make one mistake, the game's blown open when the enemy team gets an action. They're playing like a Jinx Victor comp or something like that. I mean, think of the G2 game, things like Ahri or Renekton, Nidalee, Pantheon champs to just naturally get outscaled. But you look at Rogue's comp, nothing really gets outscaled. They have teamfight to fall back on. They've kept it pretty simple, and it's going to be pretty hard for them to throw this game. They would need to kind of butt their head against the wall a couple times.
You're doing everything you can to cast a curse them, aren't you, right now,
I'm doing my best, Vedius, trust me. Actually, no, I'm not. Game 5 will be pretty dandy, and Rogue might be getting caught here. Comp, Gale forcing away from the Braum ultimate. All they have to do is just put the Herald mid, get mid tier 1, and make sure Odoamne can't die in the 1v1 when the TF ultimate's in.
Well, let's see what Rogue do next. Right now, their game plan is to attack bot lane. Razork is here to cover, but I don't think you win this. That's why the rest of Fnatic are on their way as well. Humanoid has the ultimate, holding the mid wave. We're going to have a bit of a fight in bot.
They're going in, trying to outmaneuver the Rakan. Initial burst damage is just going to delete him. TF now on the way forward, looking to stun the target. Odoamne taking the tower for now. Now it's going to shift the focus, but here comes... here comes the re-engage, and that's the wombo we talked about. Fire rains from the sky as Comp and the rest of Rogue obliterate Fnatic in the dive.
Oh, Rogue still keeping up more kills than there are minutes in the game. 16 minutes, 18 kills to Rogue Vedius. We talked about the last couple games where Rogue flip elders and they have to take risks to get back in it. That's Fnatic's risk right there. They all look pretty stupid because they get 5 for Rogue, but if they don't try to defend that tower and make it a 6v5 with the tower and get 5 kills themselves, there really is no way back into the game. Fnatic tried their best on that bot fight, but the game's just way too out of their grasp.
I think we're going to game 5, boys. This is just an absolute slaughter. It is slapping Fnatic with their wallet. The initial dive is clean from Rogue. They stop Wunder. Odoamne's forced to flash, and then the focus becomes the tower. Once that drops, the re-engage comes through.
And then it just eating backwards there doesn't stop the Ornn ultimate. I mean, it looks like they're hinting, it looks like they're making mistakes, but what can they realistically do? They're so far behind, they may as well try to defend something. Otherwise, at that point, you're just kind of playing to lose. Not much scaling to fall back on. A lot of single target damage. Side lane comp against teamfight when they're almost 10k gold ahead, now almost 11 or something. Yeah, there's not much you can do. Baron spawning in around 2 minutes, 30 seconds. I think Rogue's just going to rush that one straight away.
And while the game is not over yet, we need to talk about the potential game 5. Because momentum, these intangible concepts, these emotional factors that are so hard to quantify, that momentum is in favor of Rogue very clearly. They came back from what very well could have been a Fnatic 3-0 to bring us now into game 4, potentially to bring us now into game 5. And the question is, Fnatic, can they stay strong? Can they hold fast on a new team, on a new lineup, on a new roster in the face of a potential game 5 as Rogue once again look to pick them apart?
Comp stepping up. Odoamne gets stunned up. Maybe could be a target.
1, 2, making move for 3. Big heal comes across the backside for Wunder. Trymbi now has found the lockup. The gold card now going to go in. Maybe, just maybe, Fnatic get a shutdown, but so far they're walking away empty-handed. Wunder going over the wall. He will take down Trymbi. He will zoom out to safety, but Razork now going in on the backside, all on his lonesome. The rocket going across as well. Larssen just putting on a clinic here, beating them down as Rogue will pressure in top.
Yeah, it's going to go to game 5. You were talking about it right there, Drakos, and Fnatic just have to assess, calm down, ignore that this game ever happened and think about what's working and what isn't. To me, a couple standouts. Red side is working for everyone right now. Red side's won every single game. Hecarim, don't give it over to Rogue. I don't care if you don't end it. I don't care if you don't fall for his traps or his ganks, whatever it is. Third thing, sorry. TF really isn't working either. Humanoid looks a lot more comfortable on something that can scale a little bit better, because teamfight's the aim of this series, I think.
Humanoid going in.
You do not win
Going down. Red, white, do not fight. Them's the rules for a reason. Goodbye, Humanoid. Goodbye, Hylissang. Rogue again. Desperation for Fnatic. They are fishing for literally anything.
And Malrang ascends to godhood. 8-0 and 9 is the scoreline for him. Rogue continue to siege, level advantage across the board. There is nothing, there is little that Fnatic can do except for think about Game 5.
There's not many games I've seen like this in competitive where it's this one-sided. We're talking 23 kills in 90 minutes.
This is a scrim, right? This is what you see in scrims.
I mean, this is kind of like a scrim sometimes, you know.
Fnatic, okay, but to be clear, the scrim would not have made it to 19 minutes.
Oh, no, that would have been done after minute 5. Yeah, that would have been done and dusted. Yeah, good mental fortune from Rogue. Choosing red side, of course, finding their way back, fighting their way back the last 2 games. Looking extremely dominant, found a formula that works, and Fnatic, I think, kind of gifted them this game in a way where they're like, okay, last game, we think it was a fluke, Fnatic said. They're going to call your bluff. They're going to give you 4 of the last 5 champions that you won on last game. Now they're quickly realizing, okay, maybe we shouldn't call their bluff. Maybe we should ban away these champions and try to swap the formula up. So I think Game 5 should hopefully look a lot different for both teams.
And let's not forget that what these teams are fighting for is a spot in the finals. It is a return for Rogue, potentially. It is Fnatic. They fell short last split to the Mad Lions in the finals, where they were dominated. They're both trying to find redemption. Hylissang, he's going to lose his life. Yep. Not much to say off the back of that. The Hex Gate's making it even easier for Rogue to find kills on the map. They will extend their lead to 24. The Medjais are nearly fully stacked.
And the good benefit of making it to that finals and going through this weekend means next weekend you can see the enemy team play before you do, right? You can see them play in the losers bracket final before you play against them, so you get a little bit more information. So always helps, makes it so you're sitting under a kind of safety net. You're not up against elimination because obviously you're in the finals and you get more information on the enemy team. So definitely a lot to play for here, of course. And yeah, I think it's just closing stages here for the game. You can see Upset and Wunder, they're losing their inhibitor top. They're just trying to get a bot tier 1. Objective bounties through the roof right now, but yeah, Rogue have Baron in 21 minutes.
I mean, biding their time, you have to feel, maybe hoping, praying for a massive mistake from Rogue, but with Rogue having this big of a lead, it's kind of impossible really to make any hugely grievous errors. Now it's just a matter of time. Fnatic hold their breath, wait for it to pass, figure out a strategy for the game to come.
But what I will say is, I don't think I've ever seen Fnatic lose a game this hard in recent memory.
Oh no.
They should definitely be able to bounce back after this because they know there's only 1 game left. And the mental, I'm sure, will be fine. But the fact that this is happening in a match point for Fnatic, in giving what Rogue wanted, I've never seen Fnatic look this weak in a single game.
I mean, it was that bot play, right? When Rogue committed 4 members to the bot side of the map, they stole the Twisted Fate ultimate, they were diving Upset when he was only level 5. That was the swing factor where they went from 0-4 to 0-8, and since that moment, they really haven't taken their foot off the pedal.
And sometimes that just happens, the game just runs away from you, and the snowball effect happens in the enemy team's favor, but great game here from Rogue, and of course for Odoamne, a player who will return to the finals, still yet to find a title, and has 1 more game to do that. To try to fight for it once again. Fell short last year. We'll see if he can make it there again if they win this game and move on to the next one.
And here's what I will say. We talked a lot about the Rogue Mad finals, where it was Rogue that ended up getting reverse swept by Mad. As Odoamne, you have to feel pretty good, potentially getting your own reverse sweep after what happened last year, being able to fight your way back against Fnatic too, the organization that keeps taking those series away from Rogue.
And while it's not the entirety of a redemption story for Rogue in playoffs, it is the first couple pages, the first couple chapters of what could be a Rogue trophy at the end of the season. The fact that they can't go toe-to-toe in 5v5, the fact that they're not throwing it away on a risky team fight or a Gnar from a flank is massive, as now just walk their minions into the base as they secure Silver Scrapes on the back of one of the most dominant playoff matchups we've ever seen. It's a bloodbath, but we know who's going to come out on top. Rogue, absolute domination as this game will end. We are going to Game 5. It is time for Silver Scrapes.
My lord, 11 towers to 1, almost a 20,000 gold lead. 3 inhibitors down, they walk it in. Easy does it. Upset's laughing it off. I think that's what Fnatic kind of have to do after that game. Just laugh it off. Happens to the best, you know. Move on and focus on the next game. But Rogue, now toe-to-toe, it's anyone's game.
It's anyone's game.
and we've seen the strengths and the weaknesses of both sides right now. There are draft conversations that you can have for either side, but it's all going to come down to one final game. What will the decisions be? Will Rogue or Fnatic find the upper hand? Will they get the comfort picks that have given them so much success? And honestly, in my opinion, this game is about junglers. When we saw Fnatic winning, it was Razork diving bots, being proactive on the map. When we see Rogue winning, it is Malrang dominating, finding early game ganks. It is going to come down to who can have that agency and who can control the early game for both these teams.
Absolutely. I think the big thing here is remember how many people were like, oh, Malrang, his style. It's been figured out. It's been stopped. We'll stop it. It's game 5. It's show up or shut up. You know, all the fans, everyone who doubted Malrang every step of the way along the season after that first half when he was figured out, it's still working, people. They're still not stopping it.
And it's Malrang on Hecarim, Razork on Volibear. It's pretty much that simple. Those are the two champions that they're popping off on. We'll see if either one of them gets him in game 5.
Have to find out. After a complete domination, Rogue win back-to-back games to bring us to game 5 and silver scrapes.
Where are the doubters?
Which team will move on to finals? You can find out after this.
Where are the doubters? Never know.